Now I'm going to do the centre of my owl, and I want more than one colour in here, so I'm going to do a stripe of Zentangle pattern across the centre, and then I'm going to do 2 different patterns on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to start with my green to do the patterns on the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to do a bumpy line across that goes like this, and I want my bumps to be quite large so I can fit lots of detail inside them. And then I'm going to do another row, and I'm going to do the same trick I did before, where I leave from the centre of one of those bumps and I join into the centre of the next one. Then to make it look really realistic, I'm going to carry this on and stop it when I get to this line, imagining that it carries on behind. There we go. Now I'm going to split these bumps by doing another line just about in the centre. This. And I'm going to add some more detail, so I'm going to do lines all the way around the edge. So I'm going to carry that on, and I'm also, inside this bump, I'm going to do a solid bit of green that I'm going to colour in. Now your pens might be thicker than mine, or your owl might be smaller, so if you can't fit as much detail as that in, don't worry. Just fit into those whatever pattern you can, whatever pattern you fancy. So now that I've finished that pattern, I'm going to do the same again on the bottom here. So I'm going to curve my feathers across, and I'm going to go from the middle. I'm going to hit up in the middle of each one. And when I get to the edges, I'm going to carry it on and imagine that it's going to carry round. I'm going to do the same at the bottom, even though I can't fit the full feathers on. I'm just going to have a little bit coming down from those points, curving, just to imagine that those feathers are carrying on. And I'm going to copy the same pattern. So one curve in all of them. And then inside that, you're going to do a solid one. Around the outside, I'm going to fill it with lots of lines. So now that you've finished your pattern on the top and on the bottom of your owl, I'm going to choose my next colour, and I'm going to carry the same pattern on in the middle. It's going to do it a different colour. So from the centre of this bump, I'm going to do another one coming down. I'm going to carry it on, imagine that it's going behind here, and I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to carry it on here. And I'm going to carry on with the same pattern because I'm quite enjoying that one. So you have a solid bump. So I finished that one. And then just to fill up this little gap here, I'm just going to do a few short ones, just to fill in those gaps in between, and I'm just going to do some lines coming out from them. Okay, we're ready for our wings. Now for the wings of my owl, I'm going to split off a little section so that I can do a different pattern along the edge of my wings. So I'm going to have one line coming down here and one line coming down here. And I'm going to do, this time, let's do some lines. Let's make it a little bit different. So I'm going to leave quite a big gap in between my lines so that I can do something else in between them. I'm going to use other lines to fill in these, and what I'm going to do is diagonal lines to fill up one of those little squares, and then I'm going to do diagonal lines going the other way, so it's a bit like you're making little triangle shapes. You see, a bit like a triangle here, and then switch them around, so my diagonals going this way and then going the other way. So I'm going to switch colour again. I'm going to use purple for this bit. Now this is a little bit different, so instead of doing curved bumps, I'm actually going to give mine a little point. So they're curving down. So from the point of here, curve down, give it a point. Now if that's a little bit difficult and you find that a bit tricky to get the hang of, you can just do a zigzag shape. Just make sure that with your next zigzag, it leaves from the point of the one above, and when it comes up it hits the point of the next one. And then as I get down towards the bottom, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to imagine that it's going to carry on behind here to see where I need to put my lines. Going down from here. Okay, now this is my favourite one. I'm really looking forward to this. So I'm going to add a really close line right at the edge. If you've got really fat pencils or if you don't have room for this, then don't worry. Really close to the edge. Then I'm going to add another line with a little bit more of a gap. And then I'm going to add a line with a circle on the end. And in this second line here, I'm going to put lots and lots of thin lines really close together. And I'm going to carry on that pattern until I've filled all of these. So we've finished our Zentangle patterns in the wings. I'm just going to use my purple to add a bold outline around there. And I'm going to change it every time I get to another outline. I'm going to do it in the same matching colour. Outline around here, and then I'm going to switch to use green, and to use orange. I'm also going to add an outline to the inside of the wings because I forgot to do that earlier. Okay, now the last job to do is to just add a Zentangle pattern onto the feet. So I'm just going to put a teardrop shape inside that toe. And I'm going to put a spot inside the teardrop. And I'm going to fill in that outline orange as well. Now if your feet are smaller than mine, you might just want to do the outline with a spot in the middle. It's completely up to you. We're going to use our colouring pencils now to fill in those areas that we've done. So I'm going to choose my blue to fill in my green areas. Now when you're shading and you're just trying to get an even colour all over, it helps for your pencil to be quite sharp so that you've got a long length of the colour on the end. What I also need to do, this is really important, I cannot shade like this with it pointing down. I have to turn it and rest it on its side so it's getting the length of that flat bit on the paper, and then I'm going to move it side to side. And then you get a really smooth colour without any lines standing out from your pencil. And I'm going to keep just going forwards and backwards over it until I'm happy with it, until I think it's dark enough. There we go. And we're just adding a really pale bit of colour just to the background to really make it look full up. Now I'm going to carry on shading, choosing the pencil that matched each of my felt tip pen colours, and I'm going to do this until I've done the whole owl. Now if you want a little bit of an extra challenge, you can always choose the same colours that you're using to push a little bit darker in some areas to shade out some shadow. So I'm going to do a little bit darker just underneath the edge of the wings, and I'm going to do a little bit darker down the sides of my owl and underneath his head. to make it look like there's a little bit of shadow there. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found Zentangling as relaxing as I do. If you had a go at doing a Zentangle Owl, I would love to see a picture, so please do share it with me. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye!